Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, The Lazy Bookworm. I'm Rebecca. I hope you are doing well. And it is nearly July. I cannot believe it myself. It is now past the middle point of 2022. In light of that, here is my video about the books I would like to read in July, my July TBR. The first couple of books, to be honest, I've got are actually books I recently got out from the library. And a lot of the books I got out from the library, I guess I wasn't really seeking them, if that makes sense. I just saw them in the library and they looked really interesting. So to read these in July. And the first one is the Death of Don Juan by Sylvia Townsend Warner. I have never heard of this author. Apparently she was, I think, an English author who wrote kind of like in the 20th century. But basically, this is like the first time I've ever heard of her, and obviously this is like the first book I've ever read from her. And it is basically, I think, about the death of like the famous kind of playboy Don Juan. I am looking forward to this book because, as I said, I really don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about the author, so it's kind of cool to sort of go into books and you really just don't know what they're about in many ways. But yeah, it looks really interesting. The second one is A Clockwork River by J.S. Emery, and I admit is a, it is a chunky book. This is a heavy book, so hopefully I'll be able to get through it in July. It's a fantasy book, and it's actually about this family called the Locke family, particularly Samuel and Bryony, who kind of like occupy themselves with like scientific engineering experiments. And basically, Samuel leaves the house and he doesn't come back. So his sister Bryony has to go and find him. So yeah, that's just reading the blurb. So as I said, I like the last one. I don't really know much about this book at all, except I love. I love the cover. The cover is amazing. I have to admit that the cover is what attracted me to the book in the first place. I was like, ooh, like that cover. The third one I'd like to read is one by Carlo Levi, who was, I think, an Italian 20th century writer. Christ Stops at Eboli. Again, I really don't know much about what this book's about. Again, really interested to read this, and yeah, got it because I saw in one of your many videos about Russian literature, I think Caroline Marie Reeds was talking about this book, or at least talking about the author, and that's Ivan Turgenev, Father and Sons. Basically, I think it's about this young man who comes back from university to see his father, and he brings along a friend, and I think from what I can gather, this book is sort of about the sort of generational gap or the generational divide between the father and the son, and how that sort of affects their relationship. So yeah, so I thought that would be really interesting to read. And the last library book that I'm hoping to get through in July, but I might not be able to, but it's quite small, is Jules Verne's Journey to the Centre of the Earth. I remember reading Verne's Around the World in 80 Days when I was like about 9 or 10, and I really enjoyed it. but I have not read any Verne since. So I thought I saw this in the library and I thought this would be quite interesting. So apart from those books, I am also hoping to read, and this might be a little bit of a spoiler to my June wrap-up video, The Picture of Dorian Gray. I was hoping to read it in June, but I just didn't get around to it. So I'm hoping to read it in July. And a couple of other books I'm hoping to read in July are actually related to the event Janeaustenjuly, which is hosted by Katie at Books and Things, Blatantly Bookish, and Spencer's Library. And I will link down their announcements down below. And so I thought I would take part. So like, yeah, it's like my first kind of reading month challenge I've taken part as a booktuber. So I'm quite excited. And basically you have to follow several prompts, and I can't remember all the prompts, I'm sorry, but the main prompt is that you have to read one of Jane Austen's, I think it's 6 completed novels. I think she had a couple of like juvenilia and uncompleted works, but like, you know, she had 6 novels. And the read along that they're doing in July is of Pride and Prejudice. So I am reading Pride and Prejudice this month. I've never read Pride and Prejudice, and to be honest, I saw a little bit of the adaptation, the BBC one that was made in the 90s. I wasn't actually into it. I remember my mum loved it, but I wasn't really into it. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to feel about this book, but I've never read any Jane Austen, so it'd be great to give her a go. And also, I think they're doing another read-along of Lady Susan. So, and that's, I think, a short novel. I'm not quite sure if it's her first kind of pieces of writing or one of her first pieces of writing. And so I am hoping to read that as well. Also, the prompt did say to read a book sort of in the time period of Jane Austen. So after Googling like Jane Austen and Regency period, one of the main books that came up was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And I read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein years ago. I have to admit it was a little bit hit or miss for me, but I actually thought this would be a great opportunity to read it again. So I've got that. I've got that on my Kindle. So tell me what. So yes, those are the books that I'm hoping to read in July. And as I said, I can't wait to take part in Janeaustenjuly. I've never read Jane Austen, so I sort of think this will be a great opportunity for me to sort of really dive deep into her works, so to speak. Is it for this video. As always, I know I sound like a broken record at this point. Please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I will see you next video.